Hello guys, welcome back to the next podcast. And today, before we begin, I'd like you to smash that subscribe button if you guys like what you hear in the podcast, what I'm going to discuss today. And of course, don't forget to hit the notification button because there's going to be a lot of new videos that I'm going to be putting out very shortly about all the topics that I'm kind of discussing. Before I go into some of the things I want to talk about today, the first thing I want to just discuss is this podcast was previously called the Money Haggle Podcast, but I actually want to change it up a little bit because the first thing I want to discuss today is my new website, and that is called, drumroll please, Proactive Trainer. And you can find this website at www.proactivetrainer.com. So, what do we do at Proactive Trainer? Pretty much, as the name suggests, we're all about productivity. So just as in Money Haggle, my podcast, if you had been previously listening to those, my focus is really just on business and developing strategies to become a more effective entrepreneur and to take your business to the next level. All those things are definitely going to be encompassed within the website that I'm going to talk about in a second and what my website does. But the real focus, where the crux of the website is really is harnessed in is being productive and really eliminating procrastination from our lives. Now, is it really possible to destroy procrastination completely? That's a great question. I really don't know. And honestly, I don't think so because of human nature. I feel like the fabric of our very being causes us to be lazy in some way because of our bodies. And our bodies at one point or another are going to want to just give up, and that's why we have bad days, and that's why life is hard for us at times, because just like a car, if you don't take care of your car, what happens to you? It breaks down. What happens to your car? It breaks down. Just like your body, you don't take care of it, it breaks down too. So something within us, though, there's some sort of drive, I believe, and that's really what Proactive Trainer is trying to strengthen within you. It's trying to find your drive, find your motivation, use your strengths to improve your weaknesses, and really get your life back in order. Some cool things about Proactive Trainer is that I offer you guys one-on-one training sessions where you can actually work with me. I offer half an hour sessions if you don't have much time, you're on the go a lot, or if you have a little bit more time, we can even do hour sessions where we'd work either on a video call or Skype. We will discuss a bunch of different strategies and tips and techniques that you can use to be more productive. What's great about this also is that any person who signs up for their first training session, I offer a free 15-minute consultation on top of your 30-minute or hour session that you sign up for. So that's where we're going to create a plan for you where you're going to really develop your productivity skills, your time management skills, your just your perspective. Like, we are going to get down to the nitty gritty. If you come and work with me, there's not going to be no BS. I'm not going to hear any of your sob stories. We are going to get down to your deep rooted issues in being lazy, and we are going to correct them. Other great things, in case you guys aren't ready to jump right into a third session. I know that probably seemed a little intense, but you know what? Sometimes that's just what it takes to get over the hump. I offer blog posts as well, where you guys can actually come and read the posts that I post up about some things that are either happening in my life, books or interviews that I've seen that have to do with productivity and killing procrastination, really destroying it from your life. And even some of the struggles that I'm facing in my own life, I'll even talk about on there so that you guys can learn from my mistakes and improve yourselves in any way that you can. Another thing I'd really like to discuss before we move on to the next segment of this podcast is not too long ago, well, it was actually rather quite a while ago, a few years ago, I actually wrote a book, and it was a different title name when it started, but I actually had restructured it. I worked with a coach and my mentor, and we kind of put together a book, and it's all about destroying procrastination. This book is called Procrastination is an Illusion, a secret productivity hack that society doesn't want you to know about. And as you probably guessed, these are my these are the core principles I believe that if you follow these daily, you will be able to really get a hold of your procrastination and manage your productivity and establish productivity in your life. So I believe that if you were to read this book, it could really benefit you. If you'd like to actually read it, you could either visit my website, Proactive Trainer, in the content section. I'll leave a link in the description below. But you can also buy it in both an ebook and a hard copy on Amazon. I'll also leave a link for that as well. I know some people like to actually physically hold the book in their hands, so I made a copy for you guys out there as well. Some other things, just one last thing. I'm sorry, I know I've been jumping. I have so many things I want to tell you guys about that I've been working on. The reason why some of you may have been following my channel and kind of wondered where I'd gone. I've been working on so many different projects in the past month or so, all at the same time, and I kind of just lost track of YouTube. And it really became hard to create more content, but I am going to start creating more content because I know that a lot of you guys have been coming back and watching the videos and trying to subscribe and get involved with building your businesses and reaching out to me. So I really want to be there for you guys and coach you as much as I can through this medium. So one last thing about Proactive Training, and then we'll move on. I have also created some weekend webinars. So if you guys don't really have any time during the week, I know, believe me, it's really hard to find time sometimes. You guys got kids, you have, you're taking on new lifestyles with your 2018, goal setting that you've done, your 2018 New Year's resolutions. You got school, you got this, you got that. I understand things are, it's tough. So I actually I know that a lot of people have most of their time on the weekend, so I actually am designating some of my time to give to you guys a 1-hour webinar that you guys can sign up also on my website in the session scheduling area on my website, and I'll leave a link to that as well below. All right, so let us jump to the next order of business that I'd like to discuss today. So let's talk about, as I mentioned earlier, just not too long ago, there's a lot of projects that I've been working on, and I might have mentioned them in some of my previous videos, but I really want to talk about them because they've really taken my focus over this past month. And I have been so proud to work on them, and just I feel so really alive, I guess is a good word to say it, by just pursuing these projects, because I've been wanting to do them for so long. One of them was to create Proactive Trainer, so I've talked enough about that one. There is one last thing I want to talk about Proactive Trainer, but I'm going to mention at the end of the session, the end of this podcast, just so that you guys can have a little bit more information. And I actually have a gift for you guys if you want to go over to Proactive Trainer, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Just hang on to that little tidbit. So, in a previous podcast, I know I had mentioned that I was just opening up some e-commerce stores. I had opened up one at the time, but I actually went back and opened up a second one, which I'm so excited about. It was a blast setting up, and I'm literally on it, working on it. If I didn't have to sleep, each day, I would be working on it pretty much because I love it so much. I'm so passionate about it. So the first e-commerce store I mentioned previously, this is more like my kind of like a shell site right now. It's not really completed. You feel free to go check it out if you want. This one isn't so much a promotion because we're still working on marketing it, and I need to get some more people to come and work on the aesthetics of it. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing at the moment, but it's definitely a functional website, and it can be used to purchase the items on there. I've actually created a t-shirt website. It's called, you could find it at www.newyorkdigiprints.com, and what we sell is pretty much t-shirts and other sort of like hoodies and other things like that have inspirational quotes that I've created myself. And I'm really proud of some of the quotes I was able to pump out. I still have a few more that I kind of want to, that I'm kind of toying with right now, and some designs that I'm coming up with and working on those. But the store that I'm really like focusing most of my attention on, and most of my attention on like all of the projects I've created, is really on this next store, which is called Men's Premier Bags, and you can find it at www.menspremierbags.com. And it's really a fantastic site. It's a drop shipping site. In case you guys don't know what that is, drop shipping is like you find suppliers, from wherever. Most of my suppliers are from outside of the United States. They're in Asia, it's in Eastern Europe. They're all over the place pretty much. And what you do is you have people buy your products, and you take those products, you put them in front of an audience where people are interested in. So I've been doing a lot of marketing with Facebook. You can go to my Facebook page and see our Men's Premier Bags page. It's facebook.com/Men's Premier Bags, and just really like promoting it with Google Ads, also with pay-per-click ads, and bringing people in who are interested in this sort of niche. And it's really been exciting. We've been having a lot of people come and check out our bags. Some of the bags that we offer are messenger bags, laptop bags, briefcases, duffels, totes. What else do we sell? Like photographer bags, stuff for like specific businesses. I think I said briefcases. Backpacks, rucksacks, all these different things that people who are like into the traveling niche, even just like fashion, are into, and we've been doing just really well and just trying to expand as much as possible. And I'm just having a blast designing the website and working with different designs. I've been working with virtual assistants that are helping me build the site also, and work on our marketing project, when it's just been great. So if you have a moment, and if you're interested in some bags, be my guest, go check it out, and maybe you see something you like. And again, at first I didn't think this was possible for me. I didn't think I could even set up a site, let alone two, where I can actually have people supply me bags and I can make money without even holding any supply on my persons at any time. I didn't think that was such a thing. I didn't even know that was possible. And now I have two sites that do that. It's just, we live in such an amazing time that it's unbelievable the amount of opportunity we have, especially with the internet. So, don't ever think that don't have a limited vision for your life. If like, go on the internet, do reading, like learn about new things. Like, for instance, like the other day, I keep seeing these articles about this, and I think it's like the most fascinating thing. And I actually heard a podcast the other day that happened like 2 years. That was like the interview of the podcast I was listening to happened like 2 years ago, and they were just talking about something that was like happening right now. It was just like bizarre that how such a thing wound up happening like in the exact way they predicted, and that these things keep like occurring over and over again. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now. Amazon actually, what I was saying is Amazon actually released or opened up these stores where like robots are like selling things to people. There's like a robot run convenience store now that they've created in Seattle. And I'm sure these are going to be like the next thing that's like takes over America. It's amazing. It's just amazing like the time we live in. It's like, and what I've read also about these convenience stores is that, what's his name? The guy who, the CEO of Amazon, what's his name? I can't think of it right now. Anyway, he's been like talking about doing this for like forever, and he just like finally got it going. So it's pretty Jeff Bezos, that's right, Jeff Bezos. So, and he's like been talking about doing this for years, and like he finally like was able to do it. So it's pretty amazing. Anyway, so don't hold a limited vision. Just keep at your goal, whatever it is, and just don't ever stop. Even when you achieve it, don't stop, because there's more to it than just getting what you want. Okay, there's always a second, third, fourth, fifth, 1,000th step. Never stop. Just keep going. The other thing I've been working on is an app, actually. And this app is called Gruntwork. And what it does is, it's similar to Upwork, which I don't know if you guys have heard or not. That's actually where I found a bunch of my virtual assistants who do work for me. Upwork, if you guys don't know what that is like it's like a community where you can hire freelancers from all over the world and find like really cheap outsourced work, or rather outsource the work that you have for people to do for like really low prices. And I used a team of people who were like building this app for me for like a very low price, and it was an amazing experience. Like, we put together a pretty dang good app, and I'm very excited about it. And how it works is actually kind of mimics Upwork a bit, but I feel like it taps into a market that doesn't really exist, especially in America. So like, let me just like paint a picture for you. So, in America, sometimes you may have to do things like you don't want to do. For instance, let's say like you're at the grocery store, and you're kind of just like standing in line in this huge, huge line. You guys know what I'm talking about. This has probably happened to you before, and you're just like, this line is never going to end. I'm going to be sitting here for like 3 hours. Now imagine if you can literally just hop on your phone, click a button, and hire somebody to come stand in that line for you. Wouldn't you do that? That's why I created the app. So it pretty much like outsources work to people in your immediate area for like tasks that you just don't want to do, that you're willing to delegate to other people. And we built this app, and it's a fee for service. So like, we bring together employees who are willing to do the work for people, to stand in for them, to clean out gutters. It's also great for people who have even professional skills and qualifications, who want to go out and, like, let's say they have like a CPA license, they want to do taxes or something, or they're an internet programmer, and they go on their app, and it just so happens their neighbor's looking to build a website for their their dog business or something. You never know. Like, it's really it's gonna. I feel like this is really an app that's going to bring people together, not as much as it will stimulate the app and building profit and even the economy. I feel like it'll build business, but it'll also build relationships, which is really my ultimate goal. Like, I feel like in America we're close knit, but I feel like the time of, like, I remember with my dad, like, when he was younger, and he would tell me, like, America was so different, like, when he was younger. Like, people would, like, unlock their doors because they trusted each other more. Now it's like, I feel like people don't trust each other as much. Everybody's very secluded. They're to themselves. Everybody's on their phone. They don't want to be involved in things that happen. Or maybe it's just something, I don't know. I'm from New York, so maybe that's why, I don't know. But I feel like there's a disconnect in community. And this is a great app to really get people involved in their community and help each other, and also make a little money on the side, because who doesn't want to do that, you know? Just because you're helping a neighbor doesn't mean we ain't capitalists at the heart of it all, aren't we? Anyway, so that's the app. And I'm going to get into a little bit of a story about it in a little bit, but I actually created a Kickstarter for it. At this moment, we have the first version done. There are some additional things that we want to work on, my team and I. We want to put in some new features, some tracking things where like employers can actually leave the job site and still know what like their employees are doing, and we have some other features where we have like VIPs, and we can like boost posts or boost jobs or profiles so that people can be seen more. A lot of different things that we've been working on, but we weren't really able to put them into the first version because, unfortunately, it costs a lot of money to do that, and time, and I just, I felt like we got to really get this thing going because we got something good so far, but it could always be better. And of course, like we're going to be growing it soon, so we're going to need more staff and customer service and things like that. So I have a Kickstarter set up, so if you want to go check it out, it's on Kickstarter.com. I'm going to leave the link in the description below so that you guys can go check it out if you're interested in it and learn more about the app, of course. And if you do, if you make a $50 donation, you're going to get a plain white tee with our Gruntwork logo on it, which is pretty cool. We'll send you, of course, the size that you request, and it won't unfortunately be sent though until the Kickstarter campaign ends, which is I think like 32 days or something I set it up for. And you're also going to get, if you donate, I think $100, $100, you're going to get a white mug with our Gruntwork logo on it, so that's also pretty cool. Another thing, two things that are kind of related that I've been working on also are stocks and ETFs. So I've been getting more into, as you could probably tell, passive income. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like you kind of set up the work now so that later on you can reap the benefits, of course. A lot of these businesses I've been talking about, the app, now stocks and bonds, all the stuff that I've been buying. You put in the money, or you put in the time, you set up the businesses, you buy the stock, you buy the bonds, and later on you get your dividends, you get your money back, right? And then some. And you don't have to do any work, it just keeps paying you back over and over again. I've been really into that lately, and I think that that's really the future of making money. And if you aren't doing this right now, you're missing out. You're really losing. Because the traditional way of making money just doesn't work. Like, I listened to Les Brown. I talked about this in a previous podcast. Les Brown is one of my favorite motivational speakers, and he says, like, he always says something like, there was like this day of the gold watch era where like people would go to college, get out, work for a corporation for like 30 or 40 years, retire with a gold watch, and live happily ever after. And he's like, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, the gold watch era is done. It's dead. So that's, it's gone. Like, I was thinking today, like, I'm a speech therapist and a teacher during the weeks. So, like, that's how I make most of my active income, which, if you guys are confused about what the difference between active and passive income is, like, active is like the actual money you put in for the time that you work. So if I work 8 hours, I get paid for 8 hours. Passive income is like I could put in 8 hours building anything, a product online. I can put it on a marketplace, and people can keep coming back and buy it for years and years and years later, and I could make way more than just those 8 hours are worth. So that's really the difference between passive and active income, and why passive income, you could probably see why that's, definitely the way to go. But yeah, why I was bringing up the whole thing about me being a teacher is I remember I was working at a school not too long ago, and this woman who I'd been working with, she was like so excited about having a pension and all this stuff, and I'm like, that's great. I wish I had a pension too, but it's like, what are you gonna do like when you're like retired? Like what if like the cost of living just shoots up, the interest rates like just plummet, and there's just like, you know, like the cost of like oil becomes horrible again. Like things like like a ton of bad things can happen. You could just lose your pension. Like anything can happen to you. So it's like, I was just wondering, like, you know, does she have backup plans? Like, what are you going to do if you don't have a backup? Like, that's the whole reason why I'm getting into passive income, especially at the age I'm at. I'm 26 years old. And by the time I'm 56, 66, I want to have allocated businesses where if one of my businesses fail, I have 4 others to go that are making me just enough money to survive on. I don't even have to work a 9-to-5 job. That's my dream. You know what I mean? Some people talk about a freedom number where they can, where they're working towards like a certain money value, and like that's what will allow them to live like a life of freedom where they don't have to work a 9-to-5 job. I have that in mind, like what that number is for me. But for me, what's more important is to have a freedom plan. And for me, what a freedom plan is like allocated businesses that when the system is put into place, you can't lose. Like, you're going to have businesses that float you until the day you die, and you will never have to work again. You can retire at any time once those businesses are making the money that you need. I feel like having a freedom number is too small. We got to think bigger, and that's how rich people stay rich. They're going after businesses that they can constantly make money off of passively. They never have to work, and they just reap the benefits. And that's why you see them like partying it up in Bali and like, you know, visiting the Louvre, or like, you know, they're all over the place. It's great. That's what I want for myself. That's what I want for you guys too. Like, and you guys could have it. It's really not impossible. Is it easy? No, but it's simple to do. Like, what I mean is like the plan is simple. It's just putting into action is hard. You know what I mean? So that's my little spiel about that. Anyway, back to stocks, ETFs. Bitcoin is another thing I was talking about. I wanted to talk to you guys about. So let's talk about stocks and bonds. So I've created, I like to call it, I have a plan. I call it the watermill plan, and it's pretty cool. I don't want to get into too much detail because eventually I'm going to create a tutorial that kind of outlines every little last bit of how this works. But in essence, I'm taking money from like one fund that's building a certain amount of interest, and then once I get to a certain point where I'm comfortable taking that money out, let me just jump back. I take like my funds that I make from my active income from working. I kind of designate those to another fund where I make interest on the money, and then I'll put them into like a portfolio that I've created, which is like extremely stable. And I've worked with like an advisor to create over like a 20 to 30 year period. So it's not completely soundproof. To say that would be, you know, crazy, because there's no such thing as like storm-proof, you know, portfolio. Like at some point or another, like your stocks and bonds and ETFs and commodities will fail. Like it's just the nature of the business. But the beautiful thing about a portfolio is that you can set it up where at some points, if you invest in not just companies and not just like, you know, securities, but like also emerging markets and different parts of the world, and not just in America, like if you really just invest in so many different places and have a well-diversified portfolio, and you keep reallocating your funds to these sort of ventures and like constantly keep moving it around, you will wind up with a pretty diversified portfolio rather, that can outlast many devastating times in the market. And I've been studying this more and more and more. I've been reading a lot of like financial books on this, and I really feel pretty proud of the portfolio I put together, and I'm excited about where it's going in the future. one last thing I want to talk about in regards to my business ventures is Bitcoin. Now, I don't know if you guys are involved in Bitcoin or not. I just recently kind of got into it. I started in September or so, probably end of September, middle of September, something like that. And around this time, Bitcoin was going nuts. It was just increasing and increasing and increasing. And I had literally I had been doing so much research on it that I was wondering how to get involved in Bitcoin. I didn't want to just buy and hold, because one thing that people kind of mistake about Bitcoin is that they think it's they always say they call it the market, but it's not a market, it's a currency. And if you know anything about currency or the Forex market, those things are influenced by governments, by social things that are happening in countries, about a million and one different things. Bitcoin, though, is interesting because it's a currency that is really run by the internet. It's not run by one particular entity like a country. One thing I've noticed is that Bitcoin is really influenced heavily, though, by the media in so many different ways. Not just the media, there are other things that influence Bitcoin. Companies are starting to use it more for many different reasons. I learned recently even the real estate sector is going to start using Bitcoin for I forget what it was, funding projects or something like that. I don't remember what the specifics were, but I thought that was kind of interesting. They're using it for so many different reasons. It wasn't Bitcoin, it was just cryptocurrencies in general, different cryptos. So that's really cool. Other things that are really important about Bitcoin, though, is that if you got into the market around that time when I did, it shot up like crazy. And people had been holding their money since it came out in, I want to say, I don't know, I think it was 2012, maybe before that. I think it was even before that cryptos were around. I'm not sure. I can't remember the exact date, but they had been, holding on to these cryptos, and people bought in at $13 for one coin. Some people had been mining coins. I'm not going to get into that right now, what that means, but just a quick definition. It's people build these computers, and they decipher these codes that make the code kind of stronger, so that Bitcoin improves its security and improves how fast the transactions happen. So that's kind of been dying off, though, for many other reasons. Again, I'm not going to talk about them right now, though. And people have just accumulated hundreds and thousands of coins because of that since they started. So people had thousands of coins, and then at its highest point, I believe it was at $20,000 and $20,902 was the highest point that it got up to. So imagine if you had 1,000 coins. You'd be a millionaire. It's ridiculous. And some people just cashed out, and that was it. And then what happened was around 2 or 3 weeks ago, people, quote unquote, said the bubble burst, and it just crashed down $9,000, rather $10,000, $11,000. So it went down to half its value. Honestly, though, I say this is the best time to buy Bitcoin, because it's not as low as it was when it started, but it is extremely low, and I just keep seeing it rise a little bit. It goes down, but it goes up again. And that's really what you want to see when you buy Bitcoin. I have a system, and again, I'm going to create a tutorial on the, let me put it like this. Imagine if you had a money machine, right? And you had $100, and you put that $100 into the money machine. And you were able to get a portion of the money that you put in on top of the principal that you put in. So if you put in $100, imagine you took out $100 plus, I don't know, 10 or 15%, and you got that back as well. And you kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it and just kept making 10 to 15% on your compounding interest on each investment. You would have a lot of money over time, wouldn't you? With cryptos, and especially Coinbase is the exchange where most people buy their Bitcoin through. You could buy it through other exchanges, but most people buy it through there. They take a lot of fees and other things when you buy with credit cards. But that, imagine you took that process and you were able to eliminate all the fees. So you were literally left with all of your money, and not one dime had a fee applied to it. You'd like that, wouldn't you? It would be pretty nice, right? I have a system set up where I'm able to pretty much do this, and I'm just kind of in the process of documenting it. I have a goal set of the money I'm trying to make. Once I kind of get to that goal, I'm going to put together a tutorial of how I've done this, and I'm going to release it to you guys. Because honestly, like, I don't want to hold this method to myself. I feel like so many people should be doing this, and they're not, and it's crazy. It's like each week I'm like making like, just as an example, with this method, I'm not saying it's completely like bulletproof. You can lose money, it is possible, but it is extremely hard because of the amount of compounded interest you earn. It's like, for instance, like even the week where I put in the money to I put in my investment for 1 week to gather compounded interest on it, like I had been, and to reinvest it. There was 1 week where, like I said before, the market just completely, not the market, I know I shouldn't say that, but the currency just completely crashed and became half its value, and I still made money on it using my system. So using the system I've set up, and it's not really so much a system, it's more like, I don't know what you would say. It's really like honestly, it's like a money machine. Yeah, I don't really know how else to describe it. That's really what it is, the best way I kind of look at it, and I think it's great. And I can't wait to release it to you guys. I'm very excited, and I really I'm going to let you guys know when I do drop it. And if you guys, like I said before, if you gotta subscribe to my channel, and definitely sign up for the notifications, because I'm going to be releasing new videos, and one of the videos I do release is going to discuss some of the ways that I do this. And also, when I release the tutorial I just mentioned, that's going to be on a video, of course, and it's going to notify you where you guys can get them. So, one last thing that I want to talk about before we go is going back to my app for a minute. I know you guys are probably saying, that's so cool, like this guy, like he had an idea for an app, it's such a cool, like that's a great idea for an app. Or maybe saying, who cares about that app, it's stupid. Whatever you said, whatever. I think it's awesome, so I really don't care, but if you don't like it, whatever. But I think the app was a great idea, but looking back on it now, it really became a struggle to put it together. And at first, I had budgeted a certain amount of money for it, but I actually wound up losing my butt on it and going into debt because of it. And it's really hard to admit that and to say that to you guys, because you're probably like, but you're the proactive trainer guy, like you're productive, like you should have known this. And you know what, you're right, I should have. But to sit here and say like I should have known everything is ignorant. Socrates said, the wisest man is the one who knows he knows nothing. I didn't realize, like, I let my pride and like what I was doing get the best of me, and it wound up setting me back into debt. But, well, before I go into what I did about it, I just remember just like sitting at my computer looking at the screen and kind of just saying, I don't know how I'm going to pay this off. Like, just literally just staring at the screen for like 20 minutes, wondering like, how am I going to do this? It's not like, this is never going to happen. It's not going to be possible. Wondering, how I'm going to go through, like, what's the next step? Do I have to go get a loan? Like, how am I going to pay this off? Like, what's the solution? And it really took a lot of readjusting my mindset, and to snap myself out of it. I kind of just said, okay, Alex, you know what? You could sit here and you could like worry about this, but that's not getting it done. The best thing you can do is remind yourself you're not a victim. Because victims, they sit here and they're like, the world's too hard. The debt, it's just too big. I can't pay it back. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I didn't do that. I stopped myself. I said, you know what? I got a problem here, and I'm going to fix it. So I said, what's the best way to do this? So I came up with a plan. I literally sat down and was like, instead of staring at the screen, I'm going to stare at a piece of white paper, and I'm going to take a pen. I'm going to keep writing, and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to put this together. And I actually came up with a 3-step plan. I actually call it Reverse Compounded Debt Payment Plan. I know that's a mouthful, but it's pretty much a 3-step system that's extremely easy to set up, that a lot of people just aren't taking advantage of. So let me just give you like a brief example of how compounded interest works and how my system kind of works. And then I'm going to let you decide what you think of how effective it could be. So if you guys, like I've been mentioning compounded interest earlier in the show with the stock market, right? So if you invested like $55, let's say, right? You got like 10% on your investment. Let's say $50, just to make it an even number. So you put in $50, right? So you get 10% on it for one day, let's say. You get $5 back, right? So $55 is your profit. And then let's say you compound it 5% for the next day, and the next day, and the next day, right? And then I don't know what that value is because I don't have a calculator in front of me, but you would make a decent amount of money, right? So what about if we put in $100? You get 10% of 100, which is 110. I'm sorry, you get 10% of 100, which is $10. Add that to 100, $110 is your profit. So obviously, if you put in more money, you make more compounded interest. If you, let's just say the same compounded interest over time, the 5%, you'd make more money over that. You'd probably agree, right, if you did the calculations. So what's pretty messed up is credit card companies, which is what I had, a credit card debt, they use this against us because they take 17 to 36% on your bill, and they give you sometimes just a month to pay it off, and you don't have the money, and you get further and further in debt. It's pretty messed up, right? So I said, why do they get to do that? Why don't I just create a system where I take what they're doing and just use it against them? And that's exactly what I did. And just to show you that this method really works, I'm going to show you how I went from $11,000 in debt, which I was able to pay off and bring down to a 0 debt balance after I think it was like 5 or 6 months using a system I created, where I was still able to pay the bills that I had coming in and even keep more money in my pocket for other things that I just wanted to spend my money on without a worry in the world. Sounds nice, right? Don't you want that? I know a lot of people have debt, and so I created a tutorial that outlines every single step down to the T, and I actually use my very own debt example, the actual debt I actually had, the $11,000, and how I bring it down to $0. And if you want to go check that out, be sure to go to Proactive Trainer, to the content section. I'm going to link it in the description below so that you guys can see this tutorial and pick it up for yourself. It's 100% worth it, and I think that if you're struggling with debt, it's a must read. It could definitely help you fix your problems and take a ton of worry out of your life, because you know what? It's just not right that the credit card companies get away with this stuff. Let's say you and I, we get back at them. Let's take back what is ours, and that's our money. Okay? So, before we leave, there was one last thing I wanted to mention about Proactive Trainer. I know I've been talking it up all day, but I'm extremely proud of it. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that in the month of February, if you guys buy any ebook off of the website, you get a free session with me. It has to be your first session, but you get a free first session with me and a free 15-minute consultation. Free of charge, no matter what. And the ebook is 100% worth it when you put the two together. I can't guarantee that it will make you 100% productive, but it will damn near put a dent in your procrastination, I'll tell you that much. So I think it's worth it. And for the value that you're getting it at, it's definitely a good deal. So, before we go, I just want to remind you guys, if you liked what you heard today, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, because I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos and a lot of new tutorials, and I'm going to be putting out these new videos so that you guys, some of the new videos are going to be promotional, so that you guys know when the tutorials are dropping. So be sure to hit the notification button, subscribe to my channel, and I really thank you guys for listening, for following my story, for subscribing, for everything. You guys are great. You're a great audience, and I thank you for following me in my journey, and I look forward to seeing you guys on my websites and for you guys to check them out. If you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comment section below, and feel free to email me at alex@proactivetrainer.com. Take care for now, guys.